Hello and welcome back to another Tote stable tour. Today we're still in Ireland and we're here to see another Cheltenham Festival contender trained by Tony Mullins. Formerly a champion rider in Ireland, he's got a few horses and he's got one in for the Pertemps Final that he really fancies. Watch along as we learn about Letos and his season so far and get Tony's view on some of the Willie Mullins hot pots before the Cheltenham Festival. If you are enjoying the Tote stable tours, be sure to leave a like, comment below who do you want us to go and see for the flat season, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos. You were just saying, Tony, we're obviously in Goring here, but you're incredibly close to the racecourse.
Yeah, we're just, I don't know if your camera can see it there, you can see the back of the main stand through the trees. And so we can walk them across. We never do because there's a main road there between us. But our land goes right up to the turnstiles there. So that wasn't planned when I bought this place many years ago. It just happened to be beside the racecourse. It was good land that I wanted to buy, and it's just a coincidence it was beside Goring. You know, because we're only from my father's home place that we all learned our trade in is only about 4 miles away. So.
I got you. Your first winner was in 1987. Is it always been trained out of here? Have you? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, our first winner was actually a top-class 2-year-old race at the time, the Birdcatcher. We sold him to Bill Mott in America and took the money and put in the gallop. We had no gallop actually when we had our first winner. No all-weather gallop. We were just galloping in the fields and going down to my father's place. But that changed quickly.
Do you still get the buzz this time of year now when Cheltenham comes around?
Yeah, like, I mean, as a punter I get interested, I get a buzz, but I have an extra buzz this year, you know, because we have a chance. I believe we have a winning chance with a horse of our own, you know.
How long has that sort of been in the pipeline? Has that always been the plan this year, that you thought this horse was good enough to...
Well, yeah, we're always dreaming from the day we buy him, and from the minute he won the Brown Lad, it's been the plan. So you can ask me that you know, you're going to be saying from the Brown Lad we then entered in Carlisle to qualify and then started our build up to Cheltenham.
Yeah, he won well in the Brown Lad, didn't he?
He did, and the farmers worked out well. If it was back again now, I wouldn't have run him in Naas. I think I ran him back too quickly after travelling to England.
And he went down with a fight at Carlisle, giving a bit of weight away to the winner as well. You're happy enough to get him qualified?
We were delighted to be placed with 12 stone and the travel and everything. You know, no, everything went grand. Naas was just... I don't think that the race was too good for him. It just came too soon for him, and it put us a bit on the back foot, preparing for Cheltenham. But we think we're back on course.
Yeah, you're firmly happy with how he's been since then. Yeah. I suppose you sort of had to dip your toe into that grade to see how good he was, maybe.
Yeah, but we shouldn't have done it 21 days after travelling to England, and that's my opinion now. I thought it was a great idea at the time, but the way it went, I think it just came a bit quick for him. You see, you'll see him here in a second. Are we going to sort of show him? Will it? Yeah, he has his old out in the field sheet on him. Yeah, you might actually get a picture of him rolling now. Just shove him aside there. He's a huge horse, and he'd be waiting now. I ride him earlier, but his companion doesn't get ridden till later, so he'd be waiting all morning now to go out.
And you got him from France, didn't you, Tony?
Yeah, I bought him from France. He had a couple of ordinary runs, and then they put him up to 2-6 in a 4-year-old chase, and he was second in it. Now, I'd say it was an ordinary race, but it showed to me for the type of checkbook we had, he looked like the best type we could buy. And we're quite happy. I think, we think he has a chance in Cheltenham, and we know he has a future over fences. So.
And I know you've spoke on like previews before, saying that you watch a lot of French race, and you're quite keen to sort of see the horses that are being bought from over there as well. Is that how some of your sourcing tactics maybe?
Yeah, we're not able to go to the Derby sale and the Doncaster Spring sale and buy young horses, because they're just too dear to buy the right ones. And I tried buying a few cheap ones and it didn't work out. So now we're buying horses that we know can race, and we nearly 100% go on the form as opposed to how they look. Or we ended up buying Princess Zoe, that won big races on the flat, quite cheaply, and when she arrived she was so crooked I nearly fainted, because we had purely bought her on her form and allowed that she had run so many times that she was sound. But I got some fright when I saw her, I can tell you that. She was a wreck.
I don't know if you've realised, but you just surpassed 400 Irish Jumps winners as well. You're on 401 now.
I didn't know that. Oh, yeah.
Was it much of a celebration for that? Is it? You're keen on milestones?
If you had to ask me, I couldn't tell you whether it was 100 or 600. I have no idea. I'm useless at keeping records, and I suppose I like to think forward, but I have no idea how many winners I rode. I have no idea how many winners I trained. Or I should keep an eye on it, but it's the next winner is the one I'm counting.
Of course, you've tasted success at the Cheltenham Festival before in another notoriously tricky race to win, that county hurdle. Yeah,
Pedro Bob, and he ran into a horse at the second last, and I said, here we go again. We were shuffled back to 11th. I think he jumped the last in 7th place and won. He was a very good horse. Again, you see, he was a neighbour's homebred horse. Quite a cheap horse, and he just turned out to be a good one. And so,
how has the sort of competitive nature of Cheltenham changed from then to now? Do you think it's more competitive now?
No, I think it's more publicised now. But us that are within the game, I mean, I remember when I was a very small child when my father had his first winner in 1968. I shouldn't be admitting I remember that, but I mean the excitement that time, like we nearly couldn't breathe. So the game has got to a wider audience now in Cheltenham, but it was equally as exciting for us then as it is now. It's just that the public have probably become more aware, but for us, we'd kill for a winner in Cheltenham. Yeah.
How do you sort of see how, like Willie's dominated Cheltenham for maybe the last 15 years now? It must be obviously good for you to see, but for you to compete against some of the top class horses he's got, do you like that rivalry?
Well, I wouldn't even call it rivalry. We're not at the races. He will go down in history as probably the greatest national hunt trainer ever, and it's made life hard for a lot of lads in Ireland. The competitiveness, it's made life tougher, but I'd rather see my brother doing it than someone else,
When I was doing my research, I seen that he rode 12 winners for you and a 33% strike rate. Is that right?
I would say so, yeah. We were both sort of half giving it up at the time. I had terrible back trouble, and Willie rode on for a few years, but he, when I had a few nice horses, he'd never come ride them work or anything. I'd ring him and say, I think this lad is worth riding. And he rode a lot of winners. And of course, he was a very good amateur, top class. And, he's excelled at every level in the game. And he's a great businessman as well, so that's what I suppose keeps him there at the top.
And I was also interested to read that Barry Connell, he rode a Cheltenham bumper winner for you before.
He did, the Posh Paddy. So I don't know, we never called Barry the Posh Paddy, but anyway, he was a horse we bought out of another yard, and he just came good, and Barry said he'd love to ride in Cheltenham. I don't think we went over half hopeful, but it was very exciting for Barry. He beat Richard Johnson, I think, in the finish, and that was hugely exciting. That was at a November meeting. And then Pedro Bob, I suppose, came on a year or two after that. And, you know, we had a lot of success with Barry and great times with him. I'd say he rode over 30 winners for me. Yeah. And, or for himself that I trained. Yeah, so. But, you know, Barry had the wherewithal to buy a nice type of horse. And he'd done well with them, you know, here, and even he's now doing well on his own, you know. I'd like to think I trained him as a trainer.
One thing I wanted to ask you about was being a sort of joint champion rider in Ireland with the great Frank Berry. How fondly do you look back at the time riding, and do you miss it?
Oh, I miss it like the day I retired, yeah. I mean, I'm back riding out this lad now, and I hate having, the getting ready to go out and ride, but when I'm up on his back, just feels like old times, you know. It's just, you know, he's a beautiful horse to ride, but I just love it. I've forgotten how much I loved him.
You're a Group 1 winning trainer and a Grade 1 winning trainer.
Yeah.
How do you sort of divide your time now? Do you still have plenty of flat horses as well?
Well, yeah, we try it with a few. You see, we don't have the checkbook to go out and buy the horses I want. So I buy whatever I can afford, and it wouldn't bother me to train a 3-mile chaser or a 2-year-old for a first time out. And we've done it at all levels. So
do you get more of a kick out of the jumps, or is it equally as good training on the flat?
Look, the flat is really where the money is, but the excitement of preparing like this lad when he won the Brown Lad, you know, we planned it out a couple of months earlier, and it was huge satisfaction, him passing the line. You know, I mean, we were very excited when we won the Group 1 in Longchamp, but I think it's a stupid thing to say, but I think I got more kick out of the plan with this lad and executing it and it all working in Naas that day, you know. And I can't imagine the excitement if we can pull it off in Cheltenham.
Do you think sort of the makeup of the race with being like a big field handicap will suit him, having that experience at Naas, like you said?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you see, this lad, a lot of people forget. This lad has raced over fences in handicaps in Tote, so he has huge experience, and Danny put him into the ruck in a Grade 1 in Naas, you know, and these things have given him a huge experience, and that to handle the rigours of a Pertemps hurl. So it's about getting there 100%. If we get there in 100% form, we'll be fighting it out at the last. Whether we win or not, we'll have to wait and see, but he'll be there fighting it out if I can get him there 100%.
And hopefully you can provide your son with a Cheltenham Festival win, and that must be...
Yeah, that'd be exciting. I missed it with my father when I was the jockey, and it'd be great to get it done and tick that box.
Brilliant. What do the sort of next week or so look like now? We're pretty close to Cheltenham. Just ticking over.
No, he has one very strong bit of work to do still. He'll do a strong bit, I'd say, at the end of this week. That will give him 10 to 12 days in, then a couple of little blows, then is all he'll want after that, sharp blows. But I'd say he has a core fitness, having won in early November, so I'm not that worried. As long as we get one good gallop into him. After that, then couple of little blows, and hopefully we'll get there.
Brilliant. And you said you don't have the checkbook to buy the horses you want, but is there ambition for you to sort of scale things up? Would you like to have more?
I don't think at this stage I'd like to have more, but I'd like to have better. You know, buying horses like this is by far our most expensive purchase in a few years. So, you know, if you can buy beautiful big horses like him, 17-2, big, honest, sound horses, you'll get the results if you get those horses.
Have you got any other horses that you're quite excited about, maybe for the spring or further down the line as well?
Well, Paul's Dream, I think it'll be a lovely filly for Galway next year, next summer, or this summer, whatever way you want to put it. And I have a couple of bumper horses, and I have a nice Inza Court 3-year-old that I don't know if he'll go to the top, but he's going to win a few races. And you know, so we have cheaper horses that are going to win races. But our chance now of getting on a podium on a Saturday, this is it. Now they'll go down to the other gate there and roll in a second. So if you have a bit of a zoom on it. Obviously he's the near horse. Ah yeah, that's going to be maybe the race of the festival, him and Margeborough. You know, because you have the reigning champion has to find a bit. Then you have the little worry of Margeborough, will he jump fast enough? So that's a very exciting match. And it is a match, I can't see anything else. Ilite Tom there has to come back from a Sandown run. So I would imagine it's a match between Marine Nationale and Margeborough. And it's not an easy call. I'm on Margeborough's side. I think he's a massive horse, massive ability. So, but it won't be easy. It'll be a great race now. It'll be a fantastic 2-mile champion chase if they both get there.
One to ask you about, with your knowledge of the French imports, is the Triumph Hurdle with Narciso Haspinaz. What do you sort of think of that division now?
Yeah, that filly that won in Naas on Sunday. It's hard to get a look at her because it was a sort of a false run race, and she did well with the difficult circumstances. You know, when she hit the wing in the second last, then she got cut off going to the last, but she quickened well. So she definitely showed ability, but I don't know how to assess the race with the way they walked for a furlong. So it was only 1.6 miles. If anybody can sharpen her jumping, it'll be Willie, but on the bare look of it, she just looks too green at the moment. So she's potentially a very good filly, but it's going to be one of Willie's great training feats if he can get her there to jump cleanly and win. And say she has the ability, but might come a bit quick.
How do you think Willie's runners there will fare this year? He's got a lot of sort of big bullets to fire. Do you think Galloping de Champ can bounce back as well?
Oh yeah, I mean, Galloping de Champ is the one they all have to beat, but it's well documented that I believe Factifile is the best horse in training. And I've never wavered. I've never seen any reason to say that he's not. In my opinion, he is the best. Now, there's a chance he could go for the Ryanair, which puts Gaelic Warrior in as the main threat. But like, while the King George was a massively exciting race to watch, I just can't see a Gold Cup winner coming out of 4 horses within a half a length of each other in a top class race. Tells me that there's nothing superior in that bunch. No, they're very good horses, top class horses, and a fantastic race to watch. But like, how do you divide 4 horses that have less than a neck between them heading on to Cheltenham? And I don't see any reason why any of them are going to massively improve because of the change of track. I think that the King George is a fantastic race in its own right, and people have this strange thing in their head that it's a completely different race to the Gold Cup. You know, there's so many horses have won the King George and won the Gold Cup, and there's too much made of the massive difference that people say there is between the two. I'd love to have a horse for either of them, I can tell you that.
Last question I'll ask you. Aside from Letos, what do you think's Irish banker material for Cheltenham?
Irish banker. I'd nearly want to see the runners in front of me now. An Irish banker. Oh, there's no doubt Bambino Fever. And funny that filly, I can't think of her name now, of JP's, that might have beaten her this year, was second to her.
Old School Outlaw.
Old School Outlaw. Yeah, she's probably the danger, but she's about a half a furlong behind, in my opinion. I think Bambino Fever is a machine, and she'll come home alone. Hopefully with them all behind her, not in front of her.